Okay, Matthew, we're going to attempt to make a calzone, and I have 17 minutes, so I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to do this in 2 videos. For one thing, it's going to take a while to cook. I've never done this before, so if it doesn't work, we will figure out something else and go on with our lives and do a better job. Okay, so here's my trick for the chopped spinach. The whole idea of the calzone is to not have liquid. And I know this is going to have a lot of liquid in it, so I normally do them only one. I'm going to do 2. See what happens. So I would do 1 package for 3 minutes on high, so I'm going to do 2 packages for 5 minutes. And I'm not trying to necessarily completely defrost it. I just want it to get it to where I can squeeze the water out, and I'll show you my trick for that. So I've got my skillet. I've got the burner set on about 6 or 7, kind of high, maybe 6. And I put a little olive oil in it and did my little wipe around I like to do. I already cut up the onion. You know how to cut up an onion, so I didn't see any reason to do that again. You'll be happy to know the cat has been fed, so we will not get meowing. And then I'm going to put the mushrooms in. A nice thing about them already being sliced. Did you see that? That's hilarious. This popped all by itself. That's hilarious. So there you go. I guess that's what happens if you leave it out long enough. Who knew? All right, it's really going to be full. Might have been a little more ambitious than I thought. It's definitely going to be more ambitious than I thought. All right, I was hoping to do this in 1 pan, but I think I'm going to have to do it in 2. So I'm going to put that over there, put the front burner, I want the big burner, and I want it on 7. I'm going to get another pan, because I still have to do the sausage, and it's just not all going to fit in one. I was trying to get it to fit in one because I know that's what you want to do. Maybe you've got a bigger skillet. I've actually got a bigger skillet, but I don't like to use it because it's hard for me to handle. It's kind of heavy. Okay, so we have the sausage. I'm going to take my kitchen scissors. You should have scissors that are dedicated just to the kitchen. But you don't use for anything else so you don't contaminate your food. Now, that being said, this is raw pork. So these scissors cannot be used again until I wash it. And this is nice and hot skillet. The other one isn't. Squeeze it all out. Sound of a nice sizzle. Wash your hands because you're handling raw pork. Little bunnies in the backyard is so cute. Now for this, I'm just going to use a wooden spoon. You can use a spatula, just make sure it's not one of those little cheap white ones because it will melt. Because that's happened to me before. So now that I'm doing this with the raw pork, I'm going to have to stir this with something else. And the liquid, mushrooms and onions are going to give you a lot of liquid. It's got a ways to go. I don't know if I showed you or if you saw me put a little olive oil in the bottom of this. I do it for everything because it's just going to stick, especially this pan. It's not non-stick. I just got to keep it moving. The whole point is to brown it, obviously not burn it, and I want no pink. This isn't like beef. You can't have it pink at all. You make yourself real sick. Just going to keep that moving. I've got it on 6th heat setting. I don't know if you can hear it sizzle. Gotta be patient and keep it moving. Check and see how. Yeah, that's pretty thawed. Now we know the spinach is pretty thawed. Be very careful you don't mix up which utensils you're using with which. I'm going to scrape that bottom off, get a lot of good flavor. Got to keep scraping that bottom. Keep at it. The sausage is really going to give it a good flavor. It's worth the effort. Boy, does it smell good too. I hope you can see that it's starting to brown up some. We still have pink, so I got to keep going. Yay, my oven is preheated. Now this said, oh, I so wish it wasn't doing this. It said 400 degrees. I know I said 425, but 400 is what it needs to be, I think. Well, we are going to make this work one way or the other. All right, now that it's getting some juice from the pork, it's not sticking as much, which is wonderful, and I need to flip this some. This has got a lot of cooking down to do. It's all smelling really good. And if this gets too boring for you to watch, just fast forward. I'm just going to keep cooking this. I want to show you how to cut up these tomatoes. Because we don't want the juice from the tomatoes in this, so I can't just cut them up. I've got to cut them up and get the juice and the seeds out of them. And I washed my tomatoes with a little bit of soap and water. I do that with all of my vegetables that have a skin on it. There's some controversy as to whether you should do that or not. I do it. Man, that's hot. I don't know why. It's cooking so fast. All right, I'm making a mess. But I have no delusion, whatever the word is, that I'm somehow taking out any harmful ingredients that have gotten into the tomato while it was growing. But I figure people have been touching that tomato. The cashier, the person that's put it in produce, the person that picked it. So I just go ahead and wash it with a little soap and water. Just make sure you rinse it real well. You obviously don't want your food to taste like soap. All right, this is getting there. I want little pieces. I'm going to chop it up. Plus, as I chop these big pieces, I can still see there's pink inside. No pink with pork. Even though you're going to cook it in the oven, no pink. Really important. And if you don't feel like you can do 2 pans at once, which is can be a little challenging, just do one. You can dump this out into a bowl and then do the spinach and the sausage and then put it all back together again. That's what I was thinking of doing originally, but I knew you would try to do it in one pot, so I did too, and it didn't work. But this is coming along really well, the onions and the mushrooms. I'm going to let that keep cooking a little bit longer. Get a little facial from the steam. I'm just being silly trying to kill time. Now, if this pork, it's not going to get necessarily really brown like you would think meat is. You just want to make sure it's not pink. Oh, those onions are smelling good. All right, can you see what these onions look like? Onions and mushrooms. So I think that's pretty well done. I'm going to set that aside. Ooh, turn that flame off. That is warm. And I don't know if you're cooking with gas or electric. I've never cooked with gas before. I would love to try it, but having a cat, I just think an electric range would not be good for him. I've got a few minutes left. I really want to, on this video, get the might have to be 3 little videos. I was hoping to get the first half in one, but I'm not going to be able to. I'm limited to 17 minutes. I'm going to let that sit for a minute. So for this tomato, I use a serrated edged knife. Unfortunately, I can't move this over. So I'm going to cut the tip of this off on all of them. And then I'm going to cut it down the middle like that. And then the seeds are what I want out of it. Hang on. It's starting to brown up a little bit. That's good. So I'm going to just cut. You can kind of see where the seeds are. I'm going to kind of cut around it. I never do this, so let's see. Maybe a spoon will help. Yeah, and just scrape those seeds out. That'll work, or you can just cut it out. Whichever is easier. I think cutting might be easier. And I'm going to dice these. Now you know how to cut up that tomato. I'm trying to get as much of this off of it as I can. So I'm going to clean those up with a knife. Excuse me, my allergies when I turn off the fire. And I think that is cooked enough. There's no pink. It's a little bit brown. I don't want to over brown it because then it will be tough. And I'm going to turn that off. And I'm going to finish cutting up my tomatoes, and when I come back, I'll show you my trick for the spinach, and we'll put it all together and put it in the oven, and then I'll make a third little video, show you the result. Hopefully it works. All right, see you in a little bit. Love you, bye.